Hey everyone, so I just wanted to share a little bit of a collective message from the beach. And I think what's coming through is the message to recognize and accept and fully receive when there is a message, a sign that's coming through for you, to be able to properly recognize it as your own, and then to actually like fully accept it, like rather than doubt it or question it or file it under like this is really cool but maybe. And I kind of received one of these the other day, and it was really cool because it's actually very subtle and it touched me in a very subtle way. Like it felt very gentle, but it was so specific. And it it wasn't just like spirit getting me to notice something, but it was getting me to notice the way in which I was noticing it in such a way that it just felt very, very individualized. And it felt very individualized, and it also felt very like precise. It felt clear and direct and precise and very gentle and soft. It wasn't, there wasn't like some kind of surprising or shocking element to it. It was just very much like a whispering, and like we can't make it any clearer than this. And I think it's an important topic because I think we will each receive these kinds of messages and nudges like slightly differently based on our own personal language, our own personal psychic landscape and symbology that's going to make sense to us because of some specific meanings that they already have for us. And so here, I have also recently been listening to Carolyn Mace, whose work I really respect. She's a living master, and I would love to like meet her in person and actually talk with her. But is she's constantly working, like she's a genuine mystical scholar as well. And she was recently talking about something that she has called the resource archetype, which is interesting. But she ended up describing something that I had already kind of like intuited myself, as kind of like a working psychic metaphor, basically. And that's what the resource archetype is. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but this is kind of like a cognitive schema that you kind of unconsciously frequently apply in for metaphorical purposes. For example, for describing something for yourself that is completely new, like you're completely moving into some new domain, and it kind of like takes on the shape of a specific cognitive metaphor, so to speak. And you can study, like you can learn what yours is based on, for example, if you do a lot of journaling, like over time, or with a dream journal, for example, over time you will start to recognize what some of these may be for you. And for me, absolutely, one of the top metaphors is certainly traditional photography, and specifically, well, everything that goes along with that, like the whole technology of this original photochemical process. And I'll just try to like really briefly zoom out and summarize this. But for example, the way that this kind of like sign appeared and came in for me was really, as I said, very precise and gentle and kind of like instant. And it's exactly the way like a pinhole camera works. For example, if you've got like a camera obscura, a dark room, and then you literally create a pinhole opening aperture onto the outside, you can actually still construct this in a room of your own if you can get true blackout conditions. And if the environment outside is actually quite sunny with a lot of light, you can create an inverted image of whatever's happening outside, include like all the motion and everything on the back wall of your camera obscura. And I just find that's like a really potent metaphor. I mean, it works with me and my own unconscious, and this was basically the style of the illumination that I received. It felt very mystical, not poetic, like not linguistic. And like a pinhole camera, like when you take an image with a pinhole camera, you need to be very, very quick. You need high lighting conditions, and you need to like be very fast with the aperture so that you can capture just that one instant of light on your photosensitive surface or the wall. And it's just fascinating to think about how the more clear and precise and distinct like the opening is, then the more you are kind of like internally illuminated because of this opening, this kind of like punctum in a sense. And that's the way that I felt that I got this type of validation. Anyways, this is all probably very abstract, but if there's anything in here for you, I would like think about like what kind of like archetypal kind of unconscious metaphor do you end up using a lot? Like it may be technological because of the hold that technology has on our collective psyche. So maybe it's some type of like digital or computational metaphor, or maybe it comes from another domain. Like I'd be curious to hear. But I think there's very specific personal reasons to you why a given metaphor may be yours and not another one. And the whole point of this, if I can like circle all the way back around again, is once you really get to know and you're really familiar with the way these metaphors work for you, it will be easier to understand and receive the lessons that are actually coming in for you, the specific signs, the messages, and to be able to like properly receive them as your own. Going back to the pinhole metaphor, think about how with such a precise and distinct opening and with so much light coming in, think about how the image is absolutely clear as a result. You know, like you are not going to have to question it. You are not going to, like there's no fuzzy lines, like relatively speaking. And the other cool thing about the pinhole image is that there's no translation needed. It's just instantaneous. It's an instantaneous reception. There's not even any like development time. There's no negative to positive transfer. It's just instantaneous. And I just feel very like that very much resonates with me, and the kind of like internal illumination that such an opening can have. So I think that's pretty cool. Let me know what you think and what kinds of like metaphors you use, and if you've ever like, have you really paid attention to this or not. But I hope that was interesting or helps in some way. Let me know, drop a comment and give this a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll keep sharing.